All right, continuing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure up and get my vertical heights. I have 1 inch, 1 inch, a 1 inch space in between, and 1.5. So measuring up, I come up 1, 1, 1 inch in between, and 1.5. Using presentation's frozen. How about now? It's moving. All right, so basically what I just did was I measured up 1, 1, 1, and 1.5. That's from here. 1, 1, 1 inch space in between, and 1.5. I'm now going to use my T-square. I'm going to draw some light guidelines across the paper. Remember, we do guidelines or construction lines lightly so that we can later erase them if need be. Those are my light horizontals. Now I'm going to draw my light verticals. I'm going to start with this one because I know these are actually going to be dark. These are 2 permanent lines. One here and one here. I know the side of this drawing is permanent as well as the top of this. I know when I line up this 1/2 inch mark here, I need a little reference point in my front view. I have a permanent line in my top view. The middle, I need a reference line in this middle spot. I need a dark line up here. This mark here, I need a reference line at the top. I need a dark line here. Top view, front view, side view. To do the V, what you're going to do is you're going to play connect the dots. You put your pencil on one dot. You take your triangle and you adjust it so it lines up with the second dot. You pick your pencil up, you place it on the second dot, and draw a nice dark line. Do the same thing here. Put your pencil on your starting dot, place your triangle against it, adjust your triangle until it lines up with the second dot. Lift your pencil, go to the second dot, make sure it still lines up, and then draw your nice dark line. That's the V shape. Now that I have the V shape, I'm going to go back. I'm going to erase a couple of little guidelines that I know are going to be in my way. Okay? Try and do this as quick as I can for you. Now, what you'll notice is I have extension lines here, extension lines here. If I have any lines that go up, I'm going to try not to erase those ones. I don't actually have a lot of guidelines. They're going to line up where my dimension lines are. So I'm just going to erase all these quick before I continue to darken up my drawing. Okay, now, next step. You're going to darken up your drawing. While you're darkening up your drawing, here's a cool little trick. You draw your extension lines as you're darkening up your drawing. So I know I need an extension line. I know I need to darken this bottom line. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to darken this up. Darken this one up. Lift my pencil and draw a light extension line. I'm going to come over here. Now, this is a cool little spot. You're going to have to do your dimensioning here. You're dimensioning your hidden line. All right, there's a little trick. If you have an eraser shield, okay, and you have a decent eraser, okay, this is the eraser shield. I know some of you guys bought a kit from the store. It's got a bunch of circles in the middle of it. If you draw a solid line like this, so I come here and I draw a solid line. I take the eraser shield, I place it over the solid line with these little circles, okay, and then I use my eraser and I erase on top of it, like so. When you pull it away, it might be harder for you to see, but it actually leaves little gaps. Now, do you need to use the eraser shield to do that? No, you could just like kind of dash your pencil as you go across, but that leaves a uniform, perfectly uniform hidden line setup. Darken your top lines. While you're doing that, draw an extension line out. So here's my second extension line. When I drew this, I should have drew my third extension line here. Come up to the top view. As I'm darkening my horizontal, draw my extension line, darken my horizontal, draw my extension line. When it comes to doing your verticals, same idea. Okay? Darken your line, draw your light extension line. Draw your light. These are already dark, so I'm just going to draw the extension lines up, like so. Then, using my ruler, who remembers from yesterday the measurements I do for the dimension and extension lines? Anybody? 1/4 inch.
1.25
and a half. Very good. 1/4 1/2 I measured here. I'm going to do the same thing here. 1/4 1/2. At the 1/4 inch mark, I'm going to draw my dimension lines with the gap in the middle. Right, when I have two dimension lines that share an extension line, I just draw the line solid, and then I go back and I put my arrowheads pointing at each other. Notice how my arrowheads are small, and they are filled in little triangles. They're not two random lines. Okay, so keep that lined up. You should be able to do your dimension line right here. Okay, arrowhead, arrowhead. Write your 1 inch, 1 inch. When it comes over to the 3/4 mark, to the 1/2 inch mark, you line your T-square up and your triangle up, and you take your eraser, and you use your eraser almost like you would use a pencil to line up, and you erase the edge, and both lines are the same length. When it comes to this top extension and dimension lines, draw your dimension lines. Like this is what I said about the extension line. When it shares an extension line, what I do is I draw this line first, and then this one I draw over both lines. I draw this one over both lines. I draw this one over both lines. I draw the little half one here. When I slide up to the 1/2 inch mark, I take my eraser, erase everything that goes past it. I write in my measurement 1/2, 3/4, 3/4, 1/2. I go back, I put the inch marks in, put my arrowheads on. Okay, and this is basically how the drawing should be sitting and look when it's done. 1 1/2. When you fill this title block in, here's your name. Here goes New Hyde Park Memorial High School, NHP MHS. This is going to be orthographic V block. ORTHOGRAPHIC V and then block. Scale SCALE equals 1.1. This is the date, and this is the period number. Make sure you go back, you darken everything up. You erase any kind of extra lines that you have around your drawing so that it is near perfect when you hand it in if you want to get 100. Does anybody have a question about the V-block drawing? All right, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to